Okay. Perfect. All right. So I think we can start the event. Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning or good night, depending on what part of the world you're joining us from. Welcome to this kickoff webinar for the SOLUTIONSplus Global E-Learning Programme. We're very happy to have you join us today and to kick off this set of e-courses and different activities to train stakeholders around the world on the planning and implementation of electric mobility. Before we start, I would like to give you a few guidelines or technical instructions on how the system of this webinar works. So first of all, you should know that you're muted by default as an attendee, but you will be able to raise your hand at certain points of the event, and we will be able to then unmute you if you would like to participate or make a question or something like that. If you have any audio problems, please also know that you can choose the audio connection. You can either join with a computer audio or via phone call, and there's a long list of countries you can choose to call. So that should give you flexibility if you have any internet connection problems or something like that. If you still have issues after trying this, please contact us. You should be able to see a bar for questions or chat where you can send messages to the webinar team. So this doesn't only have to do with technical issues, but if you have a question on the content of the presentations or something you would like to share with us, this is the place to do it. As I was mentioning before, you will also be able to raise your hand. As you can see here in the screen, that is one of the small buttons in the panel, on the control panel that you will see. And throughout the event, there are going to be moments where we're going to share a poll question with you. Then in the audience view, this questions should appear and you'll be able to reply to the poll questions. As I was mentioning, at any moment you can just type your questions in this box, and the question manager on our team is going to check it and forward it to the correct panelist. And after each of the presentations today, we will have a short 3 to 5 minutes Q&A session. And then also at the end of the event, we'll have a longer time for questions and answers. One final guidance point is that there's a couple of handouts that you can download from the system. This include a general info sheet on e-course 1 of this e-learning program with a short description and the schedule of each of the units that we'll be having in the next couple of months, and also with the link to register in case you haven't done so already. And in addition, there's also an instructive on using GoToWebinar if you have any further questions. So now let's give it a try to one of these functionalities. We would like to invite you to share a little bit with us from yourself. So we'd like to know where you're coming from, which continent, which part of the world. So let's launch the first question. My colleague Marie is doing that. Marie, thank you. I see that you're already opening it. Perfect. So you see, we just have options on the main contents. Let's see, give you maybe 30 more seconds to reply. Marie, you can let me know how the replies are coming in and when we can close it.
Yeah, it's looking good. We already have 82%, 84% voted, so let's maybe count down just a couple more seconds.
Okay.
Seems to be more or less stable now, so I'm going to close the poll in
Perfect.
3, 2, 1. And you should be able to see the results now. So,
do you want to read us out more or less how the distribution was?
Yeah, so a little bit more than half of our participants are joining us from Europe. That's where we are right now. Welcome to all the Europeans. What I find interesting is that we have almost 1/4 of people from Asia or Australia. That's really great, and obviously welcome to all the other ones from Africa and Central South America as well. Really nice to have you here.
That's super, very interesting. Thank you, and thank you everyone for your replies. Okay, we have a couple of more poll questions to warm up, so we can go to the next one. We'd like to also know more or less what is your background, your profession, which sector you work for, and this should help us, adjust also the presentations and further e-courses that we might that we're going to open up. Know, okay, more or less what is the composition of our audience. So the options are whether you're maybe a public sector representative or you work for the academia in a research institution and university, whether you are a consultant or advisor, perhaps you work as a mobility service provider or operator, or in other industries such as technology companies or OEMs.
Yeah, so we already have almost 90% participation in this poll, even more than before. Wow. So looks like people are still voting. Let's give them another couple minutes, seconds.
That's perfect. All right.
I'm going to close the poll now in 3, 2, 1. And right away, going to share the results. You can see plenty of people joining us from research field or universities, or maybe some graduates who just finished their research education maybe. We also have, a bit more than 20% coming from other areas, which could be actually working practically, maybe even with e-mobility or mobility in general. And we already also have quite a few consultants, which, I find really cool as well, that they are joining to learn more about this. And obviously people from the public sector, which I find super, super important that you are joining as well. Thanks.
Great.
Daniel, if you want to say something more about this? Okay.
Thank you. No, I think that's really interesting. We can just go then to the final initial poll that we have, and this is an important one because we want to make sure that all of you are not only present here today, but you join us starting next week with the initial e-course in the Mobility Academy. So we can launch this third poll. It's a really simple one, yes or no. I would like to know if you've had any issues with the registration. Please just contact us either here or via email. We'll be happy to help you resolve any issues that you might have.
So we are at almost 80% here. Maybe some of you still want to vote. If you're not sure, maybe just click no. And don't worry about, because we're going to have some hands-on guidance on how to apply after the webinar as well. Okay, we're at over 90% now. I'm going to close the poll in 3, 2, and 1. And I'm going to share the results so we can see little more than 1/3 have already registered, which is great. So you already know the platform. We're going to share a couple of more insights about that later today. And for the 65% of those who are not sure or haven't registered yet, I'll show you in a bit how you can do that. And obviously, if you have questions, you can just post them in the question section here, so we can reply to them directly.
Exactly. Perfect. Thank you very much, Marie. Okay, so now we can then get started with the content of this webinar. Let me first give you an outline of what we're going to be looking at today. So after this welcome and introduction by myself, my name is Daniel Franco. I'm working at Drupa Consult here in Germany and coordinating this e-course. We'll have a presentation on SOLUTIONSplus, on the project level, all the different activities and what we're doing at SOLUTIONSplus. Then we're going to be learning from other capacity building activities and the global e-learning program in general, what is coming up after this e-course, and how it fits together within all the different capacity building efforts of the project. Later on, we will talk about the first e-course, e-mobility. It's more than just electrifying cars. We'll see, okay, the different units within this course and what is the content, how it's going to work, what type of activities we will have. And finally, as Marie was explaining, we'll have a run through the platform we're going to be hosting this e-course on, which is called the Mobility Academy. We'll let you know how to register and give you some technical guidance on different aspects of the course. And by the end of the session, we'll have some time for Q&A. So without further ado, let's go with the first presentation. I will give the floor to Dr. Oliver La, who is the coordinator of SOLUTIONSplus, and he's head of research of the unit Mobility and International Cooperation at Wuppertal Institute, and also the coordinator of the Urban Electric Mobility Initiative. Welcome, Oliver. Thank you for joining us. I'll give you the presentation rights now, so you can share the screen. Oh, okay. That should work.
All right. Hopefully you see the right screen.
Yes, we're seeing the PowerPoint now. Perfect. So the floor is yours. Thank you, Oliver.
Thank you very much, Daniel. And thanks all for joining. This is a pleasure. As you can imagine, e-learning was important before and in our planning already, but in the current situation, it plays an even more important role for our entire project and capacity building. So we are grateful that you are joining here, and hopefully you're also joining the upcoming module as well as all the others. So this is meant to provide a little overview of the entire project, which of course also links to the various angles that we are taking towards the capacity building and the e-learning. This SOLUTIONSplus project is a so-called international cooperation flagship program funded under the EU Horizon 2020 research funding program. It brings together quite a big family of partners coming from research, networks, industry, then of course, most importantly, our Living Lab partners who are local authorities and public transport operators. And we're trying to boost electric mobility across the globe, which is focusing everything pretty much but the individual owned electric car, so buses, 2- and 3-wheelers. We'll get to that in a minute. And we have a common cause with a sister program that is funded by the Global Environment Facility and run by our friends from Unenvironment at the International Energy Agency. And together we can support and service over 50 countries in Europe, Asia, Africa, and Latin America. And very happy to have this joint platform, which includes a number of services, including capacity building, toolbox development, financing, policy advice, and also demonstration activities. And the angle that we bring into this partnership is the development of certain types of vehicles, co-development that is with local innovators in the partner regions, that has a particular focus on light electric vehicles, because there we see the greatest potential with regard to the economic viability of the vehicle as such, but also with regard to resource efficiency in comparison in particular to the services that they are being used for and the people that they are serving. So electric 2- and 3-wheelers, so what you can call an electric scooter, a motorbike, a motor taxi, or what you would call it a tuk-tuk, for example. And similarly, we're also exploring ways to come up with e-bus and mini e-bus concepts, and as well as business models that can boost the availability of affordable electric vehicles for public and shared services. And that also links to our operations pillar, where we are supporting our partners, but later on also replication partners, with mobility as a service approaches and applications, as well as business models for startups. And all of that we would like to bring together in our integration pillar, where we facilitate the exchange between the local authority, public and private operators and businesses, providers of services and vehicles. And we do that in a number of demonstration activities, 10 living labs in total. And then later on, we'll also aim to replicate that in the partner regions. So this is really just a very short snapshot on some of the cities where we are active and some of the activities that we are pursuing there. In Latin America, we are active in Quito, where the plan is to come up with a new concept for the city center, where a low emission zone is being implemented, and e-mobility, of course, will play a very important role. This aims to combine also passenger as well as goods transportation. And we are, for example, with our colleagues from ABB, looking into charging solutions for the growing e-bus fleet, which is being expanded in the city. Similar activities in Montevideo, where the basic objective here is to see that we can make the best out of the existing incoming e-buses that are entering the fleet, so that we can turn this into a positive example. As you know, pilot projects of this scale can be a make or break point. And we would like, of course, that the e-buses that are being brought into the fleet are operating at their highest efficiency, and this is something that we are looking into, as well as redesigning parts of downtown, where we are working with the local authority partner to see where we can combine and bundle different e-mobility services around the historic city center as well. With our friends in Madrid, we're looking at a fairly advanced high capacity charging solution for the already quite impressive fleet of electric buses in the city, which of course then also relates to an operational model that boosts the efficiency of the operations of the e-bus fleet. In Hamburg, we are trying a slightly different approach to micromobility, where we would like to deploy electric kick scooters in the outskirts, as opposed to the usual approach where they are being implemented in the city center, so that they are more complementary rather than competing with the public transport services in the city. In the Philippines, there's quite a big focus on last mile logistics, and we work with the city authority and local innovators to redevelop vehicle for logistics services, as well as modular approach for a hub. In Hanoi, we focus on electric two-wheelers, e-bikes and scooters to help the city with their objective to phase out conventionally fueled two-wheelers in the city center. And of course, they can be replaced very sensibly with electric two-wheelers, and we try to link that to key public transport routes as well. In Kathmandu, there has been a long history on electric three-wheelers that look like tuk-tuks but are more like minibuses, as you can see here in the picture. And we'd like to renew and revamp that vehicle, but also then the associated services. In Dar es Salaam, quite a great role model for bus rapid transit in Africa already. And one of the complementing activities that we would like to do is providing a feeder service with electric three-wheelers to the bus rapid transit in Dar es Salaam. In Kigali, there's a growing number of electric two-wheeler innovators already. We try to support them developing the vehicle and also the business models and services further, and then integrating that with the growing public transport system. That's, in a very basic nutshell, some of the activities that we are doing. As I mentioned also, there is a 10th city that has just joined us, which is Nanjing in China, where we are working with partners on eco-routing in the city. And in this coming year, we will also reach out to a number of additional cities, public transport operators and innovators to replicate some of the activities that we have started here. And with that, I would like to just close it as a short intro to the project. Please join us. This will be a longer term partnership. We just turned one as a project, 3 more years to go. So there will be lots to explore, exchange on in the e-learning program, in the toolbox, but also, I'm sure, eventually in more physical meetings as well. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Oliver. That was great. And now we'll have a couple of minutes to answer to the questions of the audience. So if you have any questions you would like to raise to Oliver about the project and the different activities that have been described, please either raise your hand or share the questions with us in the chat. In the meantime, I see that we have actually already received a couple of questions on the chat. So Tarek has asked whether we will share the presentation slides, and yes, sorry that I didn't mention this before. We are recording this event, and both the recording and the slides will be shared. You'll receive a link with a follow-up email in a week from today, and they will also be posted in the Mobility Academy platform on the e-learning program site. And then the other question we received from Nishta is how to register for the e-course. This will be presented in our final presentation by my colleague Marie. So stay with us and you'll be able to learn how to register. Do we have any further questions? Let's see. Okay, doesn't look like it. Okay, no, yeah, we do have one. By Michel. Hey, nice to hear from you again. Could you explain a little bit more how you push to shift for electric two-wheelers in Hanoi? I think this question is for Oliver.
Yep.
Um,
I think so. The demonstration activity that we're planning is identifying specific corridors and then working with a local e-bike provider. So that's e-bicycles, to come up with a sharing system, which will be first in a testing environment, and then we would like to roll it out in the city center.
Super, thank you. We have one more question. What went into the selection of pilot cities? This is from Hernan.
So there were a number of factors. One was a very practical one, that we wanted to have highly motivated and committed partner cities. A mixture of experiences. As you can see, we have a range of Madrid to Dar es Salaam, where there are very different experiences on the e-mobility side of things. And one important factor for us, that's with the exception of Nanting, I have to say, is on the renewables in the current mix as well, because we would like to have sort of a perspective into the future, and there we focused on regional lead markets with regard to their ambition opportunities on e-mobility, but also where e-mobility makes sense already with regard to their CO2 emissions as of now.
Super, thank you, Oliver. We have one more question about the provision of face-to-face training. We will be talking about that in our next presentation. So let's talk about that in a minute. Now from Julia, she asked, from your work in SOLUTIONSplus, do you have examples of electric scooters as feeder modes for public transport?
Scooters is always the tricky word. People don't understand different things. So yes. So when we talk about electric scooters, they are the kick scooters. This is what we are trying to approach slightly differently in the Hamburg case. Hopefully that also materializes in the way that we want it to, so that it is more complementary to the services. And similarly, there are good examples on scooters, so the Vespa type mopeds, that we will also be testing and that play a role in some of our partner cities. And one of the key things to integrate that is the white label app that we will be producing. So a mobility as a service application that can act as a platform for partner cities to invite private sector partners to join that platform, to integrate pricing, and through that we could of course then create incentives to make it very attractive to go to the metro stop, for example, and make it highly unattractive to go downtown, for example. That is the basic idea, at least the functionality that the app will have. And then, of course, it's up to us to test this. This will be a very interesting learning that we will take, for example, from the case from Hamburg.
Perfect. That's really interesting. Okay, now as we're reaching the half an hour of webinar, we do need to go to the next presentation. But thank you so much, Oliver, for your presentation and answers to the questions. As we're receiving really a lot of questions at the moment and cannot reply all of them in the video, we'll try to send you the replies through the chat box. And now I'm happy to welcome our colleague Giacomo Lozzi, who's a project manager and coordinator of urban freight at Polis, who's leading the capacity building work package in SOLUTIONSplus. Welcome, Giacomo.
Thank you.
Let me share the presenter's rights with you now. Okay, where are you? Here it is. Okay, you should be able to share your screen.
Yeah. Can you see it?
Yes, that's super. Thanks, Giacomo. Okay, the floor is yours.
Perfect. Okay, thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Ruprecht's team, for organizing this kickoff meeting. My name is Giacomo Lozzi, and I work at Polis, which is the network of cities and regions working on transport innovation in Europe. And together with UN Habitat, we lead these capacity building activities in SOLUTIONSplus. I work with my colleagues Sabina Asanova and Claudia Ribeiro. And so this e-learning program is part of the broader capacity building activities of SOLUTIONSplus. So I will present the program itself, but also I will give a broader overview of the offer of capacity building activities in the project, so that you are aware and you can also participate in further activities if you wish to, and use the material that we make available for free during the project. So capacity building in general and in SOLUTIONSplus should enable all the key actors to manage and deploy the electric mobility innovations that the project is promoting, but also to adapt to the changing conditions in the local context. As Oliver explained, we have different pilots in different parts of the world, so we want to make sure that we cover all the different needs and opportunities. So in order to do that, we develop a series of learning activities, and we want to equip primarily local and national policymakers with the right tools, but also other practitioners, the entrepreneurs, the operators, with all the skills and knowledge that is required to develop and deploy electromobility solutions. So the starting point of this capacity building activity was a training needs assessment, a survey that we conducted at the very beginning of the project, through which we wanted to grasp the and identify the gaps, and so that we can provide a more tailor-made capacity building approach. And we can combine different learning formats, methods, and activities throughout the 4 years of the project. As you all know, we had to change a bit our plans. We had planned many different activities, also many face-to-face trainings and peer-to-peer exchange study visits. But because of the new situation given to the COVID pandemic, we still consider capacity building one of the main pillars of the project, but at the same time we had to adapt a bit the offer. So we are splitting into 2 phases. The first one that is taking place now will be more online, while we hope that in the second phase, especially from the end of 2021, beginning of 2022, we can retrieve the face-to-face activities. So in order to provide an open, friendly, and flexible learning environment, we have put together a combination of online components and offline activities, and we use a blended learning approach that as you see is composed of e-learning courses, practice sessions, webinars. We put together a database of expert trainers that can also work in other situations as well. Do you still see my presentation? Because I don't see it anymore.
Yeah, we do see it.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, yeah, now I see it again. We have materials and fact sheets that we are collecting and producing, peer-to-peer exchange activities, and global and regional trainings. So we adopt this this format that it's sort of open university approach. So we integrate throughout the 4 years of the project different learning formats, methods, and activities. As I said, we have this blended learning composed of online courses, face-to-face trainings that will be hopefully possible again, and we have a lot of training materials that is available on our website as well. And as I said before, we built all this based on the experience of our partners, but also of the participants like you. So your active contribution will be very important because it will help us shape the future capacity building activities given your feedback. So we, as I said, now I give a short overview of the other activities before going through the e-learning program that we're launching today. Other activities are, for example, the peer-to-peer exchange program, where we will have two main components: the secondment and staff exchange program between the partner cities of the project, but also site visits to experienced cities, and the other way around, to bring experts from other cities to the cities of the that are partners of the SOLUTIONSplus project. So we want to really facilitate the exchange at peer-to-peer level, but not only of the cities, but also the ecosystem that is around it. So we also have startups, operators, entrepreneurs that can participate in these activities, although then the primary targets of this peer-to-peer exchange is are the urban mobility planners and practitioners dealing with the e-mobility planning and deployment. Then we have the regional and global trainings. So we are taking advantage of the broad networks that we built in the proposal phase, and also another global electromobility project that is called GEF7. And so we are putting together all our resources, and we will also identify global capacity building opportunities and find synergies with them, so that we can present the solutions that we are developing in SOLUTIONSplus through all over the world. But also we have a more specific focus at the regional level. So the different continents will have a bit more tailored trainings and exchange as well. And in that sense, we will build the activities around the regional platforms that we are creating within SOLUTIONSplus, so that we have also a more direct contact with the local actors, the local experts, the local universities and research centers that can provide us with very insightful information, but more tailored at the local level. Then we also have a tailored program for young professionals. I saw that many of you are part of the research world, so I think this is very useful for you or your students. We have a training program for the young professionals that will be mainly involved with partner cities activities, so that we want really research to support the implementations and demonstrations. And we have the program composed of two main modalities: PhD and master projects that are directly related to SOLUTIONSplus, but also summer schools that this year unfortunately had to take place online, but we also hope to organize them in the future in physical places. Then we have a bunch of materials and fact sheets that are there for you to learn more about different areas of the pilots and the applications that we are developing. In particular, we have a toolbox that it's an online database of tools for electromobility solutions, and this includes assessment tools, design tools, but also capacity building materials and e-mobility business plans models. We also have the training material that will come out of this course, but also of all the other training activities that we will carry out. And this is composed of presentations, modules, curricula, handouts. We will also have videos and podcasts. And the important thing is that you can also use all these products for non-profit academic and professional training. So this will be free of use because it's a project that it's publicly funded. So we will make this available, and it's already some of these materials are already on our website. Finally, before presenting the e-learning program, we have also a global online community of practice. So the participants of the knowledge sharing activities of SOLUTIONSplus will join this online community with the aim of creating also a database of experts, organizations, and businesses that can be consulted and involved in different activities also out of the scope of the project, so that we create this community that serves the scope and objectives of this SOLUTIONSplus project. So coming back to the global e-learning program, this fits mainly with the left part of the picture that I showed before. So it's about the moderated e-learning courses, but also webinars and practice sessions. And it's a very unique program. It's coordinated by our partner Ruprecht Consult, and Daniel and Marie, you already saw them, are among the organizers, and they are also partner of SOLUTIONSplus, of course. So they will introduce the first e-course later on, but I just give a quick overview of the e-learning program itself. So it's quite unique for different reasons. It covers e-mobility across the globe. So we look really at all the insights, but at the same time, we look at context-specific experiences. You will see we will bring different experiences from different countries and regions. But at the same time, we try to give a broader and a global picture of the situation. We are spanning the entire e-mobility value chain, so we gather knowledge and insights from local authorities, but also the industry, the research, the implementing organizations, and financing partners. And we have the chance that all of these categories are first of all represented in the project among the 46 partners, but also each of us has more contacts outside the project, so we can cover pretty much all the and the entire e-mobility value chain. And we, for this reason, we also want to provide balanced and multi-faceted perspective. So we want to bring the perspective of the local authorities, but also of the local players, business, and startups. We also have a startups incubator program. So we want really to dedicate the good attention to all of the players, because it's just about cooperation here. And yeah, we cover all kind of electric vehicles. We already addressed this before with some questions to Oliver. So we have e-buses, tuk-tuks, scooters, trucks, and whatever. And most importantly, is free of charge, and so it's free for anyone to join at any time. So we hope you are already registered, but you can still forward this invitation to your colleagues or friends. So as I said before, we want to provide contextualized guidance, but for a global audience. And that's why we have been building the program with many different partners from all over the world with a bottom-up approach. So first we asked what is at stake. We started with the training needs assessment to understand which were the gaps, and we built the program based on that. So before giving back the word to our Ruprecht colleagues, just give an overview of the topics that we will be addressing. The introductory course is about electromobility. It's more than just electric cars, so this will provide a more general overview of the issue. And then we'll have different topics that will cover more in detail the different aspects, from public transport, technology, intelligent transport systems, city logistics and freight, business models, market, the transferability of these solutions, the operationals and service models, the replication of the innovation, and then, of course, scale up and finance. So thanks a lot for your attention, and I hope most of you will be part of the program, and so to see you there also for the interactive sessions that we will have throughout the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Giacomo. That's great. And now we have one more poll question for our audience. Marie, if you could launch it. Perfect, thank you. So we'd like to also know from your experience with electric mobility, whether you've worked with this type of technologies before, perhaps on the planning and implementation of services, or you participated in trainings, in courses, or perhaps you haven't had any experience, but you were interested in learning about it. That's also an option. Okay, we'll give a few more seconds to our participants.
Yeah, at 50% now, so feel free to share what your experience is. It's really interesting for us as well to know who actually participates and who is interested in our content. We have almost 80%. And I think it's stagnating a little bit, so I'm going to count to 3 again. 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to close the poll now. And I'm going to share the results. So what we can see is that we have plenty of people who are interested in it and don't have experience, or at least say they don't have experience yet. That's really cool. We hope that you can really take something from our course. But we can see that, I mean, 50% already worked on research or consultancy in this field, so that we already have a couple of experts here as well, and almost 30% have already participated in other trainings or workshops, so that's quite a few people as well. Maybe you can give us a good feedback or just build on what you already learned with our course. So I think that's a really nice and diverse group, and we're looking forward to meeting you all.
Absolutely, thanks, Marie. That's interesting to know. Yes, a lot of different experiences in the audience. I think it makes a good group. Okay, and now as we continue with our next presentation, I'll introduce my colleague from Rupert Consult as well, and Gunther, who's going to let us know a bit about the eCourse 1, which is launching next Monday, as you well know. Henning is a member of the Collective and Intelligent Mobility team at Rupert Consult, also here in Cologne, Germany. So welcome, Henning. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. I'm trying to show my screen now. I hope you can see that already.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, great. I'm just putting it on full screen.
Perfect.
Is this the right one?
Yep.
Yeah, so this is in full screen now, yeah? Okay, great. Exactly. Then let me just also say quickly hi to everyone. Welcome today. We're really happy to have you. And it's great that there's so much attraction, and yeah, we have received so much interest already by so many people, and we see that the numbers are actually also going up now for the registrations to the course. And let me just get back to that number that we have asked earlier about. So the 65% of you that have not yet registered, let's take this as our elevator pitch to hopefully convince you to also register now for the course. And without further ado, then I would like to just quickly say a few words about what this first course will be about, which we have called Electric Mobility. It's more than just electrifying cars, and you can understand this as slogan of our first course, which we really wanted to understand as a basic, as an introductory course. And we also wanted to make this course such that, you know, you really get a big picture overview of what electric mobility means, including, of course, electrifying cars, but also including all the other aspects which are coming a little bit short, let's say, in public representation of electric mobility. So we really wanted to aim at the big picture here. And you can see that the first course, we are really happy about this, is now starting on next Monday, actually. So kicking off today and starting with the first units being published on next Monday. The learning goal that we have defined is really to contextualize electric mobility in the current pursuit to decarbonize our transport systems, and also establishing a link to an integrated planning perspective, which is why, of course, any stakeholder involved in electric mobility is really welcome to take part in the course. But we do have a specific focus on providing guidance for city and regional authorities within this first course. But you have seen also the outline of all courses to follow then afterwards by Giacomo, and you can see that much more specific knowledge will also be created and dealt with in the subsequent courses that we will have afterwards. I hear a little bit of keyboard, so maybe for those of you who are not muted yet, maybe just make sure that you are muted. Course is running from 1st of February until 28th of March, so a runtime of 2 months, and we will release units on a steady basis, always releasing 1 unit at a time, thus giving you enough time really to dive into the topics and deal with the assignments that we also have prepared for you. Really important to say, of course, that you already got a glimpse of this, of course, already, but just to say that we have worked with quite a lot of partners, and this is the nice thing about this EU project also, that we bring together really the wealth of expertise that is also needed in order to tackle electric mobility from a very comprehensive point of view. And just to say that these are some of the contributing partners which have helped us and contributed to this first course, and we will also be talking about the units now in a second, in which we have leaders of all of the units. But just to say that all of these partners have contributed very much to the course, and it wouldn't have been possible without this nice SOLUTIONSplus project to really bring something like this about. So here you see the outline of the first course, which is starting today with the kickoff webinar, and then we will, as I said before, release the units on a weekly basis. So we will have electric mobility as a means of decarbonizing transport, starting beginning of next week and running for 2 weeks. Then afterwards, we will have the e-mobility ecosystem, stakeholder needs and requirements running until the end of February. We will be starting with the third unit, electric mobility and integrated planning, in the first 2 weeks of March, and then the course will close with the last unit, what does electric mobility look like on the ground, which will be running until the end of March. But stay tuned, as Giacomo has already alluded to before, there will be more courses coming up, dealing much more with the specifics of electric mobility than afterwards. So let me just give you a little bit of a glimpse into the different units that will be released now and that you will be working with, hopefully, within the next 2 months. First unit, electric mobility as a means of decarbonizing transport, will be led by our colleagues from UN Habitat with the following unit moderators listed here. And this unit will look at the following aspects. We will first start with a global overview of the sustainability challenges. And this is really where we want to make the big framework in which electric mobility should be located and situated in. So this is really to show you the key trends and current challenges in which we need to look at electric mobility more specifically. As already mentioned before, we have the fortunate situation that we are actually working on all continents, which is also why we want to say a little bit about the regional contexts, which are very important, of course, to bear in mind when planning for electric mobility. So here you will hear a little bit about the regional contexts in which electric mobility will take place and will be implemented. Getting electric mobility right, third module, is about opportunities and requirements. This is really where we want to identify challenges and strategies for the deployment. And this is where we want to also give already a few tips on how to get electric mobility right. And the fourth module is then about sustainable urban mobility planning as a policy framework. For those of you that have not heard about SUMP yet, will be will be able to learn about it in the 4th module. And this is really where you can learn about SUMP as a planning framework in which different kinds of innovative mobility solutions like electric mobility will be dealt with and more explained. We will then follow up with the 2nd unit, the electric mobility ecosystem, stakeholder needs and requirements, which is led by our colleagues from ERDICO with the following moderators here. And here we will deal with the different modules, integrating energy and mobility. Of course, this is something you need to bear in mind, that electric mobility means working on the intersection of mobility and energy, which means that new opportunities, new partnerships, new intersections and barriers will need to be dealt with in having these different sectors with their specific rationales need to be taken in mind. Second one is roles involved in electric mobility. There we will try to map all different roles, interests and responsibilities that play a role and that should be included for when you want to bring about a very good electric mobility ecosystem on the local and regional level. And this is where we would then assess different needs for skills, resources, infrastructure, and institutional structures. And last but not least in this unit, we will be assessing and planning according to fleet operators and user needs. So this is really where we want to look at the specific different requirements of operators and users. And in the end, of course, electric mobility will only be successful and transition in the right ways if we understand what the different fleet operator needs are, such that we can bring about an electric mobility system which is catering to the needs of fleet operators as well as to users. Third unit, you will recognize these faces as you've seen them quite a bit today. Electric mobility and integrated planning. This is, so to speak, our unit. So it will be led by Ruprecht Consult with our specific take on this with sustainable urban mobility planning, which is our framework for bringing about a good electric mobility implementation. So here in the beginning, we will do a little bit of, let's say, more theoretical explanation of how electric mobility can be integrated with the SUMP principles, phases and steps. This is based on our topic guide, the SUMP topic guide on electrification. And here we really want to show some good practice examples and tools based on the Sustainable Urban Mobility Planning Framework. In the second one, you will hear about national urban mobility policies and investment programs. This is really rather addressing the national level, setting up a good institutional setup and national frameworks that can bring about a good e-mobility system then on the local and regional framework. So this is really rather an enabler for producing and having good local and regional setups. Third one is suitable financing schemes for electric mobility. Here we will look at the different government levels. We will look at very different funding schemes for electric mobility, also talking about a good setup for public-private cooperation strategies. And last but not least, we will be looking at organizing for successful e-mobility. This is really where we dive then onto the planning side of things. So how do you set up a conducive environment? What are driving factors at the policy, institutional, financial, strategic, and social levels? And you can consider this fourth module as a cliffhanger then to Unit 4. What does electric mobility look like on the ground? And here we really want to dive into the ins and outs of good practice examples of really the experiences from around the world regarding planning for electric mobility on the local regional level. This unit will be led by our colleagues from Polis. You've already seen Giacomo's face earlier, being complemented also by Sabina and Claudia from Polis. And here they will be looking at the different policy measures and incentives. So how do you integrate electric mobility with people and freight transport, including, for instance, urban vehicle access regulations, low emission zone, zero emission zone planning, mobility as a service. So this is really where we are dealing with all the different mobility trends that are currently going on and showing how to best look at mobility within these different policy frameworks. Second one is dealing with charging infrastructure planning in public areas, also something that public authorities often have a say about and can control and manage. And this is really where we want to dive into the success factors to plan charging infrastructure for freight and passenger transport. And here also we want to give some good practice examples for a successful rollout of charging infrastructure in public areas. Third one is dealing with the procurement of electric mobility. So this is rather looking at the green procurement side of things. Of course, public authorities also have quite a big say about their city fleets. You could, maybe some of you have heard, for instance, that the new President Biden in the United States has just announced an ambitious program for electrifying all kinds of public fleets on the national level. And similar things are, of course, also happening in the European Union with the Clean Vehicle Directive, and also in other parts of the world, where now there are different instruments in bringing about also cleaner transport on the public side of things. Last but not least, promotion, communication, cooperation, marketing. This is something very important, of course, and should not be neglected at all, because this is in the end where it comes down to actually communicating with people and potential end users, awareness raising, and actually convincing people that electric mobility is the right thing to do and is something that people should be convinced of. So not to neglect, of course, the communication and promotion side of things. So this was just a quick run through of the different units that we are planning with in the next 2 months. And I hope that the 65% of you that were not yet convinced to register are now convinced, at least. Just to say quickly also that we are planning with a few exchange sessions. So we will be hosting live webinars, which will include interviews, panel discussions, etc., with the network representatives and also the city representatives and actors from the SOLUTIONSplus context. And we really want to make sure that we tap into their wide experiences to bring that across to you. We will have 2 exchange sessions also, which we want to organize with experts and also to enable the direct interaction with course participants. This is something that we really want to emphasize as part of our course, that we do really want to organize this learning such that there should also be direct interaction and not just understand it as a one-way street. And all recorded videos will, of course, remain available on the platform for any use afterwards, after March. So you don't have to stress out about it, but the videos will be really available thereafter as well. Let me just say quickly something on the format and the activities. So as I have said already before, we will organize these different exchange sessions as well. We will have moderated forum discussions. So there will be a forum in which there's a place for you to ask questions and to also ask the other participants of the course for help, but also for their opinions. And this is really a place where you should and shall be able to discuss the contents. We will have tasks per unit. So we will organize assignments and questions for the students, because our idea of learning is such that you should be able to also reflect on the unit's contents. And we also want to encourage really the interaction and the exchange among the participants, such that this is really a learning environment. And we do want to emphasize that learning understood in our way is something that should also be something that is processing in your minds and not just consumption of different videos also. We will have additional materials, readings, fact sheets, tools, etc. Everything that has been produced as part of SOLUTIONSplus will, of course, be made available as well. And one last thing regarding workload and tasks, to also set the bars and also to set the expectations on your side. We are assuming that there will be a workload of roughly 2 to 3 hours per week, including lectures and including also the assignments. And we will have different kinds of assignments planned for you. This will consist of surveys and quizzes. This will consist of reflections, for instance, relating a certain topic to your local contexts and expertises. We will have knowledge exchanges. So we want to ensure and organize something where you can review contributions from other participants and also provide feedback to them. And we do also want to organize something where you write a short argument on key aspects of electric mobility planning and implementation. And all of this will be part of the workload and the different assignments that we will give to you as part of each unit. And the fulfillment of these tasks and assignments will actually be the prerequisite for receiving a certificate, which we are preparing for you. And if you have passed all of these different tasks and assignments, then we will ensure that there's a certificate with the different project partner logos on it, which is something kind of nice and should be an incentive for you maybe to pursue this goal even harder. So without any further ado, I would then hand over directly maybe to Marie, where you can speak a little bit about the technical guidance regarding the Mobility Academy platform. And then I would say afterwards, we can then address all the questions maybe that have been assembling in the meantime. And then afterwards, we will have plenty of time again for questions and answers. But yeah, Marie, I think it would be helpful now if you dealt a little bit with the technical guidance.
Yeah,
Exactly.
sure.
Thank you, Henning. So we don't have any questions on eCourse 1, I believe, or all of them I think have been replied already through what you presented and also through the chat. But we will have a moment at the end for additional Q&A, so we'll look if we are leaving anything out. But now, as you're saying, let's welcome Marie Ruprecht, and also a colleague from ours at Ruprecht Consult, and she's managing the knowledge and IT and communicational topics in our company. So welcome, Marie. Thank you. She's going to go through the different functionalities of the Mobility Academy platform. I'm going to make you presenter now. Let's see, you should have a window popping up. Yeah.
Yes, I do. Please let me know if you can see my PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, that's super.
Perfect. We get into the right mode. So as Daniel already said, and as we also let you know in the questions, if you had any technical questions, I'll just guide you through our platform, especially if you haven't visited a course with us yet. That hopefully helps you, but if there's anything left afterwards, just continue to put in your questions into the question section here, and we'll try to reply to them later. Just a general introduction. On the right-hand side, you can see a screenshot of our academy. You can see we have several different categories in which we offer courses. The platform is Moodle-based, which you might know from universities or other research institutions. It's quite an established way to provide learning content internationally. It's coordinated mainly by us. And we have over 40 online courses already there. They are products from around 15 projects. And as Henning already said, we have so many different topics in the area of sustainable mobility, such as active transport, traffic management, e-mobility. We also have a lot of other content there already, public transport, city logistics, eco-driving, and SUMP, sustainable urban mobility planning. So really a wide range of content available there already. The courses are all based on recent European or international projects. So we try to always contain practice examples as well as theoretical input, so you really get the full picture. And we're super excited to start this rather big e-course now with all our amazing partners. And I'll show you now how to dig in. Just to give you a bit of an example, this is what you're going to meet if you're enrolled into our course. We have a general introduction, and then you can just click through the different units by clicking right or left. I don't know, can you see my mouse or not?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, cool. So perfect. Okay, so you can see, you can see here a little arrow that leads you to the next unit, or you can go back. We will provide mainly video content, but as I also already replied in one of the questions, we'll upload content such as PDFs and like additional reading material, and we'll try to be interactive as well, and you'll just be able to find this in this format right here. Per unit, you'll have one site, and then you can just scroll through the content in your time. I'm going to show you an example of an old course. Just to give you a feel of how it could look when it's filled. Please imagine all the videos here. They were not a content of this course, but just imagine a giant video that you can click on that we will try to contain in our course. Just to let you know as well, there will be certification upon course completion. So if you went through all the contents, participated in the assignments, you will get a certificate from us. It will be signed by our partners. And of course, the learning material will be available for you after the course. So if you want to go back or if you want to share the content with somebody else, feel free to do that either during the course or after the course. Now let's start with how to actually get into that cool course here. I'm going to share a link with you in a bit. Hold on, where you can enroll, and also a link where you can get to the course directly. I hope, oh, it's not working. I'm going to share it after my presentation, but basically you click on the link and then you're prompted with two options. Either you can create a new account or you can log in if you already have an account with us. And yeah, then just enter your age and your country, and you have to read and accept the terms and conditions, which are basically just information about how we protect your data. So nothing fishy there, but obviously please read them. And then you can just type in the information that's needed, for example, password, your email, so we can reach you. And you're gonna have to go through a CAPTCHA, so we know you're an actual person. And after all that, you can click on Create My Account, and you will receive an email, and you'll just have to click on the link in the email to confirm your account and practically enroll to the course. And yeah, as a last step, you can enroll into the course. If you don't want to wait for the links that I share in the chat, you can scan the QR code now with your phone as well and just enroll or register with your phone right now. It's going to look like this, and you're going to scroll down. If you're on your phone, it's going to take a little while to scroll down, and you're going to see continue or enroll button there. Just click on there and follow the steps that I just explained to you. So yeah, I hope that works. If it doesn't, just let us know. One more picture. This is with me now. As you can see, I'm the technical support of the team, and I'm happy to be here. If you have any questions at all, just let us know, and we'll be happy to support you.
Perfect. Thank you, Marie. That was great. So I hope people are now able to go ahead and register to the course and join us through this 2 months of learning, of activities. As we'll say, we've mentioned, surely we will see each other again in the exchange sessions and for the webinars. So now we have a moment for additional questions that you might have. So let's see, let's take a look at the chat. I believe we've replied most of them, but if you have any difficulties with the registration process, or you'd like to know something else about the e-course content, this is the moment to maybe raise your hand or contact us via the chat. Let's see. Okay. So it looks like everything was quite clear. Very happy about that. So we've received some questions about the effort that you need to put in. So I just wanted to again highlight our approximation of the amount of time that you should need to put into the course. Is that it should be around 2 to 3 hours per week, mainly in watching the lecture videos, and then also you know, completing the tasks, the assignments. Of course, for those of you who are interested, there's going to be additional reading material. So if you want to put in a bit more time, there's always that possibility as well. In addition to the videos that we're going to be uploading, we'll upload the slides to the presentations. This is to facilitate also note taking and your learning process. Okay, and we have one more question. Do you have to register for each course separately? So the good thing is once you register to the Mobility Academy and you create an account, you have access to all of the whole catalog of courses. So you don't need to register again. But then just to enroll different courses, not the 4 units that Henning presented in these 4 months, that's within one single course, but future courses that are coming up in the later months, then you'll just need to enroll there, but you will receive as well the invitation to do so, and you don't need to create any new accounts or anything like that. Henning, you wanted to contribute something? I saw that you opened your camera for a moment.
No, I just wanted to show my face again, also to be present here. But yeah, regarding the upcoming courses, they might actually also be run on other platforms. So just stay tuned, I would say, and you can expect upcoming courses also to be announced, of course, through us or by means also of the other partners. So yeah, as Dani has already explained, you have access to all courses on the Mobility Academy. And with respect to upcoming courses in SOLUTIONSplus, just stay tuned for more information.
Super. Yes, thank you. Let's see, we have a question about the schedule, so the timetable. Now, as we presented today, there's a schedule set up for eCourse 1, which is the one that we're opening next week. You can also download it from the handouts in this webinar, and it's going to be available as well. Once you go into the course, you'll see the time set for each unit. We don't have still a schedule for e-courses coming up, but it's going to be quite regular, and we're going to be opening up courses every other month or so. You'll be receiving all of the invitation and practical information about them, so stay tuned for that. And then about the lectures, we're just uploading the videos for each unit once the unit opens up. And it's self-paced, so there's no like online streaming of the lecture or so. You just go in and watch the entire video. You can print the slides in advance if you'd like to take notes, and you just need to complete the assignments within those 2 weeks for that unit. Basically, that's it. Let's see, what other questions have we received? Will there be subtitles? No, unfortunately, we won't have subtitles at this time, given the amount of languages for such a global audience. It was really a high effort. So all the content is in English at this point. Do I need to sign in SOLUTIONSplus to register for the course? I mean, of course, we're very welcome to register to the newsletter in SOLUTIONSplus and to our different social media accounts to be, in touch and aware of what's happening in the project. But you don't need to register to be able to participate. You do need to create an account in the platform to be able to access.
That's a question about the self-paced aspects. So yes, it is self-paced in terms of you don't have to be live there once videos are being published. So in that sense, it is self-paced, but indeed, the assignments will have deadlines. So just, look at what the platform will tell you. So starting on Monday, we will have also assignments published for you. And there will be also an assignment for these kind of, there will be also a deadline for these kind of assignments, yes.
Exactly. And the reason for this, wanted to mention is, as Henning presented, we really want to design these tasks to encourage you to, share knowledge among each other and your experiences and different challenges in your different contexts. So once we change a unit and we go into a different topic, we'd like to shift the conversation towards that topic. So we want to take care of those assignments during those 2 weeks. Yeah. And if you try to log in and have trouble accessing, because I'm seeing here that maybe there are message prompts that as a guest you cannot join the course. Please note that you do need to create an account first in the platform to be able to access. So go to the first link to log in or create a new account. And then the course is not yet open, so you'll be able to see the contents only starting on Monday. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like there are no more questions coming in. I also don't see any raised hands. So it looks like we have covered most of it. And yeah, regarding the technical questions, again, please contact us. Let us know if you're experiencing any issues. And otherwise,
just one final.
Yeah.
Sorry, before we say goodbye, just one final question that prompted here. When will be the last day of registration for this e-course? It's actually open the whole time. So the only limitation is that if you join once the first unit has been closed, then you're not able to complete the tasks for that unit, and thus fail to acquire a certification. But it's gonna remain open even after the course is completed. So it won't be moderated. You won't have that really valuable side of discussing with other participants, and of course with the moderators, with the partners of the project. But it's going to be open for anyone that wants to go in and watch the lectures. And as I mentioned, the material will be in English on its entirety to be able to cater to a global audience.
But if let's just say, let's keep it open, and if there is let's say great interest in these courses, we might also be able actually through the project to have it translated to other languages, because of course we are aware of the fact that sometimes it only makes sense to have this also in your local language. So we are thinking about also having translations done at some point, be they in French or in Spanish, for instance. Or whatever the interest will show, but this let's just keep this open for now, because we are not yet sure whether we can really do it. But it is an open question whether we can also translate resources then afterwards.
Exactly. Super. Okay, I think that's then all for today. Thank you again so much for joining us. We look very much forward to having you next week and in the upcoming courses. So please get in touch with us if you have any further questions, and have a great time learning. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Oliver. Thank you, Giacomo. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Annie, Marie.